Loving Eliza by Ruth Ann Nordin, Chapter 18. A week later, John loaded the rocking horse into the wagon and sat beside Eliza. She adjusted her hat so that the sunlight wouldn't hit her eyes. It felt strange to be going to town with John, this time as his wife. She wasn't used to being a wife, and so she had to look at her ring again to remind herself that she wasn't dreaming. It was real. John was real. She looked over at him and slid closer to him. Slipping her arm through his, she said, "There's no need to be shy." He grinned before he urged the horses forward. On their way to town, she picked up a fan lying beside her on the seat and opened it. "I can't believe this heat. Can you?" She waved the fan, but it did little good. "Next month should be cooler. Does it get cooler quickly this far up north?" He gave a slight nod. "Well, that's good. But I guess that means you have longer winters than what I'm used to in Nebraska." He shrugged. "You've never been down there, have you?" John shook his head. She sighed. "That's just as well." She would have hated to have met him during that part of her life. It was much better with the way things were now. She resumed fanning herself, but the sweat still stuck to her. "Maybe I should take a bath later today." Turning his attention to her, he smiled and nodded like an eager schoolboy. She laughed. "You men are all the same, you know. Your mind is only on one thing." She caught him laughing, though no sound came with it. "You need a bath too, mister." He leaned over and kissed her. "Keep your eyes on the road. I don't want to end up in the ditch." Making a big show of rolling his eyes, he faced forward. "You really are a strange man. You do realize that you're strange, don't you?" He raised his eyebrows as if he had no idea what she was talking about. By the time they reached town, Eliza realized that she was eager to see Addie. When he didn't park the wagon on the edge of town, she asked, "You're going to go straight up to Frank and Addie's house?" He pointed to the chair. "Oh, I thought you were going to lug that thing all through town just to avoid riding through it." He shook his head as if she was the one who was silly. "You're the one who avoids people, not me," she reminded him. Figuring his bad manners to be holding on to him in public, she straightened in her seat and left a suitable distance between them. She really didn't know how close a lady was supposed to sit next to her husband, but decided it was best to play it safe. It felt good to be a wife. There was a sense of honor about it. But the fact that she was married to John was even better. When they reached their destination, Addie came running out of the house. "Is it true? You two got married? That's why you disappeared from the face of the earth?" Eliza furrowed her eyebrows good-naturedly. "Disappeared from the face of the earth?" John jumped down from the wagon and Eliza moved to the edge of the seat to wait for him. She could get down on her own, of course, but she understood that this was how things were done, and it was refreshing to be held in such high regard that a man would go to such great lengths to do these things for her because he valued her as a person. "Yes," Addie replied. "I heard you two were at the big dinner at Charity's and then vanished. Well, there was that rumor that you ate in the restaurant with John." She smiled at John as he helped Eliza down. "But you didn't tell me you were going to marry him or anything." Eliza shook her head at her. "Well, if it bothered you that much, you should have come out and checked for yourself whether or not I'd gone back to his home." Addie waited until John was taking the rocking chair down from the wagon before she whispered to Eliza, "I didn't wish to intrude. A newly married woman has better things to do than to have her curious friend sticking her nose in her business." John came up to them with a chair in his arms. Addie hurried to the front door and opened it. "Well, it looks just fine, John. You did a terrific job." Eliza followed him into the house and turned as Addie entered the parlor. "I think over by the window would be good," Addie said. "Frank asked me to tell you to go to the general store and he'll pay you there." John nodded. "I hope you'll let Eliza stay with me for a bit." "I would like to stay and talk," Eliza added. John smiled and gave Eliza a kiss on the cheek. He waved to Addie before he left. "I hope that you would come to your senses about him." Addie motioned to the door leading to the hallway. "Let's get something to drink. I don't know about you, but this heat makes me thirsty." "It is hot," Eliza agreed. She walked into the kitchen with her. "Do you need any help?" "No, I haven't," Addie assured her. "Why don't you have a seat and try to cool off with the little breeze we got coming in through the window?" Eliza took off her hat and set it on the table. She liked this. It felt nice to do something a married woman, a lady, would do. She was meeting a friend in the middle of the day and waiting for her husband to return. She glanced at her wedding ring as the sunlight bounced off the gold band and struck her eyes. Would she ever get tired of looking at it? Somehow, she doubted it. Addie chuckled as she set a cool drink in front of Eliza. I remember when I first married Frank. I couldn't get my mind off of him. Eliza picked up the glass and drank some of the sweet liquid. How long have you two been married? 20 years. That long? It seems like it's been half that. You'll find that as you get older, time passes quicker. I suppose you're right. Eliza took her own glass of tea and sat down across from her. You two make a good couple. Yes, Eliza agreed. I think so too. And you don't need to worry about Daphne. No? Eliza looked up from her drink. Is she mad? Goodness, I should say not. She and old Willie are courting. Eliza blinked, hardly believing her ears. Willie? You mean William Jafferty? That's the one. Well, I remember they met at Charity's party, but I didn't think anything would come from it. Well, apparently neither did he. He was concerned because of their age difference. He's nearly 20 years her senior, you know, but she doesn't mind. It's good to see him happy again. He wasn't the same since his wife passed away. Now, we got the old Willie back. Well, that's good, Eliza said. It means that everything's worked out then. And Eliza did not have to feel guilty for stealing John from Daphne. It seems so. Addie took a drink. I did miss you at church last Sunday. There's so much I wanted to tell you. Oh, well, John and I were going to go, but then we got distracted. A knowing smile formed on Addie's lips. Yeah, I can imagine. Eliza traced the bottom of the glass with her fingers. Can you? Of course. We've all been there. I missed a couple of Sundays myself. Intrigued, Eliza put her glass down and leaned forward so her elbows rested on the table. Did you? It wasn't intentional, I assure you. It's just that Frank was being sweet, and one thing led to another, and... She shrugged, then blushed. Well, we didn't get our daughter by sitting in the pew. That's right. Addie had a grown daughter who lived 30 miles west of them, with her husband. Eliza bit her lower lip. She never had a meaningful conversation with a lady. She'd only discussed the deepest questions with other prostitutes. But Addie was opening up to her, and Eliza had to know for sure if she was behaving correctly. Addie, can I ask you a personal question? Sure, as long as it stays between us. It will. Taking a deep breath, Eliza asked, when you're alone with Frank, do you ever get caught up in the moment and act in a not-so-ladylike way? Well, I didn't realize there was a way for a lady to behave in the bedroom. Yes, there was. Some of Eliza's customers had made comments about how their wives behaved in the bedroom, but she didn't dare explain that to Addie. Addie lowered her voice. I never discussed this with anyone, but I feel comfortable with you. I assure you that my manners in the bedroom are not something I would ever do in public. At once, Eliza felt like a huge weight had been lifted from her shoulders. Are you worried that you're acting inappropriately? Addie asked. Yes, Eliza confessed. I've never been a wife before, so I don't know how to act like one. Just be yourself. That's all you can really be. Well, John doesn't seem to mind. Well, then what's there to worry about? It seems to me that what happens between a married couple is nobody's business but their own. Thank you, Addie. Anytime. Addie tapped her fingers on the table. There is something I wanted to ask you, but I didn't know if it was right to do so before. What is it? Eliza asked. What is it really like to work for Harriet Lube? Eliza groaned. It was awful. She did nothing but complain. Nothing I ever did pleased her. Did you ever notice this foul smell coming from her attic? Addie asked. What? Eliza asked. No, why would I notice such a thing? Addie giggled. Well, there's a rumor going around that she has dead rats in her attic. Well, I never saw a dead rat anywhere, and I had to clean her attic, Eliza reminded her. Yes, I remember that one. Eliza paused for a moment, then broke into a wicked grin. Maybe she ate them. Addie gasped. Oh, of course she didn't. Well, I did see some strange-looking meat in that house, Eliza joked. Addie laughed and picked up her glass. I'm glad you don't have to work for her anymore. I know she doesn't pay any of her workers a fair amount of money. Is that why you asked me over for supper as much as you did? Addie grew serious. I worried about you. I looked for a better job, but I couldn't find one. And I was afraid that you would never accept an offer from me if I let you stay here. You were right, Eliza said. I wouldn't have. I'm much too stubborn. I wanted to prove that I could make it on my own. It's a good thing John got you when he did, Addie replied. Eliza glanced at her friend, wondering just how much Addie really understood about the situation, but deciding it was best to leave some things unasked. I'm also relieved that nothing happened between you and Troy, Addie added. No, Eliza began. I only went with him to Charity's party because I wanted to eat. Was it that bad? Eliza didn't like to think about it. Every time she did, she recalled how close that she had come to selling her body for money. She never realized temptation could creep up on her like that. Forcing the memory aside, she said, I never would have married Troy. Of course, Addie began, until old Willie and Daphne met. Old Willie was interested in you as well. I guess you could have had your pick of any of the available men you wanted. Maybe, but there was only one I wanted to be with. Eliza smiled, and I'm glad for that. Eliza returned her smile. I am too. I never knew that love could be this wonderful, or that I could be this happy. Well, John's sure not complaining, Addie said. You two do well together. Yes, we do, Eliza agreed. And I'm glad you came to your senses before it was too late, Addie replied. Eliza was glad on that one too. Few things were as fulfilling as finding a man like John, someone who knew all about her, but loved her anyway. Addie stood up. Now come on, I want to show you your wedding gift. We got you and John a rug. How did you know that we needed one? Eliza asked. I remembered you mentioning needing a rug shortly after you arrived in town. Well, you have a good memory. Come on and see it. I think you'll be pleased. Eliza got up and followed her to the other room.